Anytime I do a video, they keep acting all fucking picky with the video content. Pussies, man.
With World Championship Wrestling becoming the most watched wrestling show in the United States during 1997,
Yeah.
WWF would find itself in need of a little boost. The New World Order storyline was grabbing all the headlines, and Eric Bischoff's strategy to expand his viewing audience was working extremely well. The WWF were trying new things in 1997 to try and steal some of those headlines. The company had failed previously when it came to creating legitimate buzz because they always played it safe. But Vince McMahon looked at another wrestling company who had an incredible underground following that could possibly cross over and help the WWF grab some much needed attention. It was really a two-way street. ECW was in need of some buzz too, especially on a national scale, because they were going to go on pay-per-view soon. So while in comparison, ECW and WWF were very, very different, this odd coupling of the extreme and the relatively safe really benefited both organizations. The WWF had to do something to get people talking, and ECW wanted to show that they too could entertain fans on a prime time wrestling show. Today's video will look at the ECW Invasion that took place in 1997. Paul Heyman said that there was no bigger supporter of ECW than Vince McMahon. The more shots Paulie would take during ECW shows, the more Vince McMahon loved it. Heyman thinks that McMahon had a good relationship with ECW because Vince thought the land of extreme was actually good for the entire business of wrestling. It was a place where new stars could get created and eventually transition into the quote big leagues of pro wrestling, even though many ECW stars would also jump to WCW. It must have been quite a shock to the hardcore ECW fan base when they learned years and years later that Paul Heyman would have long phone conversations with Vince McMahon on multiple occasions, the ringleader of the Extreme seemingly doing business with the same man who was portrayed as the enemy. One of ECW's biggest competitors was also one of their greatest allies. Jim Ross said, Vince and Paul had a great relationship. We were helping them because we looked at it as, well, maybe at some point in time we'll get access to some of their stars. Certainly not to rob ECW of their talent, but here and there we could pick out somebody who could come in and help us. It's been said that Vince McMahon began paying attention to ECW after the 1995 King of the Ring. The pay-per-view was held in Philadelphia, ECW's home turf, and during the King of the Ring finals, the audience chanted EC Dub as they watched Mabel win the tournament.
That only happened in September of 1996.
It's never been confirmed when Heyman and McMahon really began talking about beginning a talent exchange agreement, but the summer of 1996 would be a good guess, seeing as Paul Heyman, Tommy Dreamer, and the Sandman all showed up at the WWF's In Your House Mind Games pay-per-view in September of '96, also held in Philadelphia. During the opening match between Savio Vega and Justin Hawk Bradshaw, the Sandman spat beer over Vega, and Vince McMahon acknowledged Sandman and Dreamer by saying the two men were from a local wrestling group before the ECW wrestlers were escorted out of the building. This was all done in a way that made it look like these guys had shown up without invitation, and this wasn't supposed to happen. And this in turn would create buzz for ECW. Vince McMahon talked about this working agreement on the rise and fall
Detect
of
this,
ECW
ass fuck.
TV, and he said that he thought the partnership between ECW and the WWF would be good for the business, While also saying he would not do the same for WCW, Vince recognized that ECW didn't have the same distribution as WCW or the WWF for that matter, and so Vince gave the thumbs up for some co-promotion, so things like Mind Games here could happen. And of course, Vince was also eyeballing ECW talent that he could showcase on WWF TV shows. The WWF was in desperate need of a shake-up in 1997, though WCW were destroying them in the ratings, and bringing in ECW, a promotion that was getting a lot of attention from die-hard fans, was a smart move. The WWF, quite simply, needed to move away from that stuff they were doing in the mid-90s. Tommy Dreamer said, they needed a boost, and we definitely needed a boost. WWE was getting their butt kicked by WCW, and they needed something that said you have to tune in to Monday Night Raw because anything can happen. Following Mind Games, the talent exchanges would begin, and both companies traded superstars over the course of around 2 years. Guys who would see themselves in ECW while still having WWF contracts included Just Incredible, Brabus, Al Snow, Darren Drozdov, and Chris Candido, just to name a few. The WWF, however, benefited almost immediately from the talent exchanges by bringing in ECW guys following Mind Games. Wrestlers from ECW who began working in the WWF in 1996 included Doug Furnace and Bill LaFawn, Terry Gordy, who would portray the Executioner, and Two Cold Scorpio, who would work in the World Wrestling Federation.
He kind of look like a funkadelic backup dancer. That's what guy look like.
Speaking
He
of
kind of look like a P Funk. He kind of look like a P Funk backup dancer.
music that caused a lot of confusion and a lot of
He kind of look like a backup dancer for Paul and Funkadelic.
sticking point for a lot of ECW diehards is that Paul Heyman was on WWF payroll, and Paul Heyman was accepting WWF money while preaching to his audience that the World Wrestling Federation were the enemy. Heyman, to this day, denies that he ever received any kind of payments from the World Wrestling Federation except $1,000 per week in lieu of sponsorship money that ECW received for playing Scorpio's theme music. Tommy Boy Records paid ECW a grand per week to show a lower third or a full screen thank you message, and ECW were also allowed to use Scorpio's theme song, so it was a pretty good deal ECW was getting here. If Scorpio jumps over to the WWF, then ECW would lose that sponsorship. Paul Heyman said that Vince McMahon paid $1,000 per week when ECW lost the sponsorship. Vince McMahon wanted to give ECW the money they'd be losing out on if Too Cold Scorpio was coming to work for the World Wrestling Federation. Heyman said
Yeah, it's Flash Funk. It's Flash Funk.
Salaries, whatever.
That's what Two Cold Scorpio's wrestling has.
Did not go into Paul Heyman's pocket, and the only records that can ever be found of WWF paying ECW was not $1,000 per week.
That's what it's telling.
Completely up to you if you believe
That's
it,
what you
but
was
it's the
telling.
only time it's ever been officially addressed. The night after my games, the WWF stayed in Philadelphia for Monday Night Raw. During a tag team match pitting Davey
Yes,
Wilson and Owen Hart against the Bloody Donnas, ECW's Taz jumped the guardrail and he held up a sign that said "Salute Fierce Taz."
Taz got beat. Taz got beat with a motherfucking photographer from the WWF. Taz got beef with a photographer. That's what happened to him. Taz got beef with a photographer.
Tried to stop him from jumping the guardrail, and Taz ended up pushing the guy out of the way and breaking his shoulder.
Yeah, Taz got beef with a photographer. That's what happened to him.
Once the WWF left Philadelphia, guys from the talent exchange would begin showing up in the WWF, some of which were repackaged. And things stayed relatively quiet on the WWF side while ECW continued to make headlines while doing their own thing. In 1997, though, things would completely explode when Jerry the King Lawler became very vocal about the buzz that ECW was generating. On the 17th of February episode of Raw, the King grabbed an ECW sign from a fan.
He'd tear it up. He sees this one. He just saw it, man.
Going on to explain to fans that ECW is filled with misfits and has-beens who couldn't make it in the World Wrestling Federation. Lawler says he's sick of seeing ECW signs and WWF
They
audiences,
pulled them
he
out.
challenges
They pulled them
anyone from
out.
ECW to show up on Monday Night Raw the following week at the Manhattan Center. A little later on, Paul Heyman called it into the show, and Paul Heyman says that he and a group of ECW superstars will be showing up next week on Raw. The challenge had been accepted.
Lucky Charms box is what Joey said something about Lucky Charms box and Taz and all this type of shit. It's like Joey always said something about Taz and a guy in a leprechaun from a Lucky Charms box.
The following episode of Raw, the 24th of February 1997 episode,
That's where the invasion happened. And he had a co-promotion. Yeah, a co-promotion that came out right after it. And he took out some poor schmuck. And then he took out some poor schmuck that was in the ring.
It's been said that the whole ECW roster showed up to the Manhattan Center and matching ECW tracksuits.
The ECW style matches.
And this was something that impressed Vince McMahon. This episode of Raw is really worth watching though from the start.
Yeah, with the ECW style matches on Raw.
The differences between ECW and the World Wrestling Federation. Segments were dedicated.
It is Raven too.
With ECW giving fans their version.
Stevie Richards and a few other guys.
The WWF gave us
What did Tammy? What about Tammy?
And they also aired an updated version of the Shawn Michaels Tell Me a Lie.
I mean, Tammy was working for the WWE at the time. It was formerly WWF.
Paul Heyman storms the ring along with
They took out this poor schmuck and double teamed the hell out of him. Right in front of the crew. Right in front of the crowd. Look.
Paul Heyman announces that the challenge has been accepted. ECW is in the house, and the New York audience chants ECW as Raw goes to commercial break.
That's what they did.
Paul Heyman announces that we're going to see an ECW match.
How dangerous can he be?
The first of a few. And we're going to get the full-blooded Italians, Little Guido, taking on Big Stevie Cool.
Yeah, the FBI and the BWO.
Stevie says that ECW and the BWO are taking over.
What? They did say that.
While Jerry Lawler looks on in disgust. Paul Heyman goes on commentary for the match, and Paul Heyman calls the BWO a revolutionary group within professional wrestling. Jerry Lawler calls them a rebel faction, and Vince McMahon flat
yeah, the NWO.
by bringing up the
NWO ripoff, whatever.
T-shirts. ECW heavyweight champion Raven stands on the entranceway, and he taunts Stevie Richards. Paul Heyman says here that he respects Vince McMahon.
Yeah, they're like enemies. They're like enemies as far as I know of.
Have a job in ECW calling matches. Jerry Lawler says he's seen ECW television previously, and the company
it's like the rebel meets the faction full of Italians.
Wants to know what he thinks of this whole ECW invasion.
That's all they got.
Goldust gives a long answer. Goldust just says that he's the premier, and everyone else are just
Dustin was already against this whole ECW thing. He was so against it.
Richards takes a little time to talk trash to Jerry Lawler.
He was so against it. He was so against it. Oh, come on, man. They just want to make their money. Yeah, they just want to make their money. They just want to get their money. They just want to get their money because I don't play too many times. They give me a chance to skip the shit.
There's a reason nobody talks about it. Shall we? This resumes afterwards with the aforementioned arm wrestling contest.
This happened with Tammy. This happened with Tammy and Terry. That happened with Tammy and Terry.
Cover 10 Shamrock that gets interviewed by Jerry Lawler.
That happened with Tammy and Terry.
We want Taz. Paul Heyman then says that WWF Raw has sucked before ECW decided to show up,
Yeah,
Paul
this show
Heyman
sucked
loses
without
the next match in
without
ECW
ECW or what?
with
Huh?
Mike Whipwreck taking on Taz. Fans will remember this one thanks to
Oh,
Sabu
jump off the
Heyman
R.
turning
He
into
jumped
the
out the R,
Undertaker
man. Look at
in the
this.
entranceway when trying to attack Team Taz.
He just jumped
Surely
off
give
the
him a
R.
while talking. Taz wins the
Sabu
match,
just jumped
but
off the
Taz
big
flags
R,
followed
man.
by the Taz
And
Factory.
land all the all Taz's faction. This whole entourage. R.I.P. to the Road Warriors, man. Joseph Laurinaitis and Michael Hickson. I damn sure miss these guys, bro. These guys like a great ass tag team that could dominate tag team wrestling to the fullest. He was too pussy and scared to relinquish that thing.
And Heyman takes the time to plug the upcoming Barely Legal pay-per-view while introducing Tommy Dreamer. Barely Legal would be
They
ECW's very
fix
first
the plug that
pay-per-view.
pay per view on
During this
WWE
match,
Raw
Jerry
TV
Lawler says that
on
Paul
WWE
Heyman should be
television. That's what they
kept
did.
his feet for
You
allowing
want to
him
plug
to
a pay per view
win
on
ECW
WWE
pay-per-view
television.
on
That's what they're
WWE
trying to do.
television. Nobody would have
Which was
known
they
this
say it's
was on
illegal.
TV if it wasn't for this
April
opportunity.
13th,
And Paul Heyman
1997. That's
says
where it's
he'll
gonna
get
come out.
next to Vince McMahon, but not Jerry Lawler. Lawler buries the match and tensions rise at the announce table.
That do
Lawler
happen.
says he's never in his life been embarrassed to be involved in professional wrestling, but tonight he's embarrassed to have any kind of association with extremely crappy wrestling. Dreamer wins the
He's
match.
flabbergasted about what
Lawler
happened with
moves on
Tommy
to
Dreamer and the
WWE,
Dudley Boys
and then the
and the
Sandman
Sandman.
appearing for the
Come on,
Sandman
you started kicking all their asses a couple of times and busting them down with chairs and shit.
takes the time to thank Vince McMahon for allowing ECW to come on to WWF Raw, and Barely Legal again gets plugged. Lawler doesn't want to hear it. Jerry pushes Heyman, and Paul comes right back as the king.
Yeah, and then Vince tried to hold Paul. Vince tried to pull Paul back away from Jerry.
And that was it. That was the ECW Invasion episode of Monday Night
That
Raw.
was done
The
with.
show closed
That
out
was so
with
done
Lawler
with.
following The Undertaker.
That was so done with.
Paul Heyman and ECW came back to the WWF on the March 10th, 1997 episode of Raw for an extreme debate. ECW was represented by Paul Heyman. while
There's
Jerry
there's a
Lawler
summit.
represented the World
There's a
Wrestling
summit that
Federation.
happened.
Earlier in the evening, Taz confronted Jerry Lawler and Sabu put himself through a table. We weren't
Yeah,
sure if
that's what he
Sabu was
just
going
did.
for
The
Taz or
Jerry just
Lawler,
went
but
out of
what's
the way of
nowhere
it.
to hear is that Lawler made a joke about Taz's size afterwards.
Joey is scared of Terry. Joey is so scared of Terry, man. He doesn't even know what the hell to do with him.
Apparently really offended Taz, and the King and Taz would have a little heat afterwards.
Joey got beef with Pete. Joey had
Had
beef with Pete. They got beef with Paul.
But it didn't take long for Heyman and
Paul Heyman is a wrestling manager before he became an executive producer and talent coordinator of ECW.
And so they have to resort to beating each other up.
Before he was an extreme
ECW
talent coordinator and executive producer, he was a wrestling manager
And when the WWF shows up to Philadelphia, they draw
and he used to be a
Heyman
photographer.
talks about how ECW superstars bust their asses for wrestling fans.
Yeah, these people coming into the ring to defend him. They about to protect
He
him.
says Heyman wants to be thankful that he can plug a pay-per-view on WWF television, and the King will never understand why Vince McMahon wants it.
He didn't even know he did not know that Vince was just going to allow it.
Because they're so embarrassed. And the King says that Heyman is a 35-year-old man who still lives in his mother's basement.
Okay, the basement dwelling comments.
Challenges Lawler to a fight. ECW superstars surround the King, and when the King asks for help from the WWF roster, no one comes down. The segment ends with Lawler screaming at Heyman that these ECW guys may be able to cause some damage, but Paul Heyman himself is
We
absolutely.
know the wrestlers came the back kingdom.
Barely Legal went ahead, and the pay-per-view was supposed to
Yeah,
feature a
April
match
April
between Chris
A-
Candido
April 13th, 1997. They already went and have this pay per view. Okay, April 13th, 1997. Remember that date that ECW had their pay per view. This is before the June or July of '97 pay per view. When Lawler invaded ECW, and then the next day He brought Jim Cornette with him.
What RVD was doing
Come
here
on,
was
man.
planting the
Jim
seeds of
Cornette never even worked for ECW. He just came. He was a party invasion. He was party invasion from right after the WrestlePalooza pay per view. So always in the crusade with Van Dam and Sabu and Bill Alfonso, who was a 130 some pound ex referee. Louis Spicoli, who had later died in 1998, he came along with the entire crusade.
ECW television, where Jerry Lawler made a surprise appearance in the WrestlePalooza show. Raven was getting ready to leave Extreme Championship Wrestling for WCW.
Yeah, Raven's leaving. Raven's leaving ECW for WCW because Tommy Dreamer had already beaten him.
And then the lights go out in the arena. They come back on, and RVD wearing a Monday Night Raw shirt.
He's a crusader. Him and a 130 some pound ex referee, Bill Alfonso. They just came into the ring and did this invasion, this crusade shit. That was crusade with Rob Van Dam and Sabu and his ex referee who was 130 some pound ex ECW referee. He's already out there managing people. He took out the gangsters. He took out the gangsters. They took out Paul too. He took out Heyman. He took out the gangsters too.
Van Dam would have two further matches in the WWF during 1996.
This was after the crusade that happened in June of '97.
On the June 9th episode of Monday Night Raw, and he also teamed up with Jerry Lawler the following week.
It was a crusade at the ECW pay per view. That's the days after it, man. And this is after they had with Cornette. Say that with Jim Cornette. He already came out the limo and he did part of the crusade. Oh, he got beef.
Tommy Dreamer and Van Dam also getting involved. On the 16th of June episode of Raw, the same night as the tag team match featuring Lawler and RVD.
This is nothing but craziness on TV.
SWA bout took place inside a WWF ring when ECW's Chris Candido battled the USWA's Brian Christopher. The match ended when Jerry Lawler came down to
and then this is how ECW had invaded USWA at the time.
A little later on,
That's how USWA had been invaded by ECW. That's how ECW invaded USWA, and I didn't get a chance to do a live show based on USWA shit.
The following week, Sabu had a match against Flash Funk.
Yeah, that's Too Cold Scorpio, who dressed up like a funkadelic backup dancer.
ECW programming, Lawler would continue to make surprise appearances.
Yeah.
To a 3-on-3 tag team steel cage match at 8 of 97.
They will do that anyway. That's how
taking on Rick Rude.
Rick Rude just came in street clothes, so R.I.P. Rick Rude came in street clothes. He turned on ECW for this.
Until Khan showed up, RVD, Sabu, and Fonzie escaped the cage while Lawler is left in there all alone. Lawler takes the Taz mission, but he's eventually saved back.
He made him pay for that.
At Hardcore Heaven the following month, Jerry
This
Lawler
is bad, dude.
in a match that also saw interference from Jake Roberts.
Oh, that's a snake. No, that's the snake. Oh no, man, you're spoiling with that.
It's been reported that the ECW and WWF relationship got a little strained back at the 23rd of June Raw tapings, the one where Sabu wrestled Flash Funk. Apparently, Sabu complained about his match finish, and RVD refused to lose to the Road Dogg Jesse James.
Yeah.
This loss to Bret Hart showing up in Philadelphia and putting over one of ECW's lower card wrestlers.
It's there.
It's been
It's there, bro. It's there.
SummerSlam 1997 was supposed to feature a Jerry Lawler and Rob Van Dam versus Tommy Dreamer and Sandman match. And judging by what was going on Monday Night Raw, that match certainly looked like it was going to happen. But things didn't work out, and instead, Lawler went to ECW to have those matches I just spoke about. ECW and World Wrestling Federation would continue to exchange talent, But the on-screen relationship pretty much ended. That was the end of the ECW invasion of the World
That was
Wrestling
stop to it.
Federation. ECW would eventually become a big part of the WCW invasion way down the road.
Seriously, don't go around detecting this shit either.
Sabu, Tommy Dreamer, and the Sandman. Once
I
again,
got this already.
WWF programming, but I've already covered this.
There's two of them, dude. How you cover those?
All in all, the 1997 ECW invasion was really a fascinating time period.
That was already
And it
there.
goes to show that the World Wrestling Federation were once very willing to work with other promotions. You also had Lawler's USWA in the mix. And at the start of 1997,
They got thrown into it. They already got thrown in it, man.
Superstars showing up to compete in the Royal Rumble. Because of how things are nowadays, it's hard to imagine this kind of thing happening again within the WWF.
Yeah, it happened.
Never say never. If it's something that benefits both
This is
organizations,
before the Thunderdome era and all this
as
happened, man.
fans, then there's no reason why we couldn't see more crossovers in the future.
We couldn't see it.
Don't be holding your breath.
We couldn't be seeing that.
I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and take care.
We couldn't be seeing that. I gotta do some more things, man. Oh man, I gotta go start this over, man. With that one, I gotta go redo another video, and we'll get this video processed and ending this thing. I gotta go I gotta redo a live show based on that home renovation episode. See you on the other video. We'll start this thing over and finally fix this.